Hey, what's up with it, y'all? Welcome to my podcast, Cold Narratives. I'm your host, Iceberg Green. About to let y'all hear some of these cold narratives. Check it out. What's up with it, y'all? Iceberg Green in the building. So today, my question for the day to y'all is, how do y'all feel when immigrants come to this country, they reap the benefits of our struggle and our fight for civil rights and human rights, and then they down talk us, and they don't become our allies, and they send their money back to their other countries, and it doesn't benefit black people? I just want to know how y'all feel about that. And I'll go into more detail in a second. But check this content out.
We don't want any more black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't want any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. Literally word for word. I'm not putting any words in anybody's mouth. Ibram Kendi wrote the book How to Be an Anti-Racist. The remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination. The remedy to present discrimination is future discrimination.
One thing I learned, from reading a lot about the civil rights movement was we were fighting for human rights. And the thing about it is, this is just my analogy. I feel like when Martin Luther King and he had Lyndon Johnson sign that bill, he was fighting to bring other people in this country, not just for human rights, because he was trying to build allies for black people, foundational black Americans. And what ended up happening is we fought for these human rights. People died, people got sprayed with water hoses, hung, all types of stuff. And the expectation was that we would create allies by, hey, human rights, you guys come over here, man, we love y'all. And the reverse actually happened. They came here, undermined us, reaped the benefits of it. And to this day now, we have no allies. So that's my point. It's all really about having allies, and we don't have none as foundational black Americans. We are our own allies. Okay, so this is an article I got from soundvision.com. They didn't want to name the author of this. He remained anonymous. But this is what the excerpt for what they felt, this is what they wrote about the civil rights movement. The emphasis on human rights gained world attention and also brought into focus America's racist exclusion of non-white immigrants. Buoyed by the success of the civil rights movement, activists sought to change discriminatory laws restricting the influx of darker-skinned people into the United States. This culminated into the Immigration Act of 1965, which lifted many race-based immigration restrictions. This new law allowed Asians, Latin Americans, and Africans to come to the United States. Among them were a heavy influx of Muslims, immigrants who have remained to this day. Their children are now third and fourth generation American Muslims. A number of these immigrants and their children also make up the leadership of today's American Muslim community. The civil rights movement was essentially a struggle for the establishment of basic human rights for all foundational black Americans in the United States of America. These were people whose blood, sweat, and tears helped build the country since their arrival in the 17th century as slaves, who had been kidnapped by white Europeans from their homes in Africa and brought to the country against their will to work as slave labor. Let me just give y'all an example. There was a Chinese Exclusion Act in 1882. Which was repealed until 1943. So they've been trying to get in here for a while. They have been trying for a while, and becoming U.S. citizens. And they also had, I think they did that with the Japanese too, the Gentleman's Agreement. It was something like that, like in the 1920s. They did the same thing with the Japanese. So, like I said, a lot of these immigrants been trying for years to get in here. And our fight, the civil rights movement, was epic. It's the reason. It's a fact. This is factual. This is the reason. Okay, and you know how it go. They, House Judiciary. They had this guy, Dr. Harry Lowen. He claimed that certain races were inferior. And that's what I'm saying. They had this going on, and as a part of this democracy, so-called democracy and equality, they've been having this going on for a while. It's never been that. So in 1924, they actually had a temporary quota act. And that's when the Southern Europeans was trying to get in this thing, them Italians. That's what I say. Y'all gotta understand, until this they've been trying to get this going for a damn near century. And it was our fight. Okay? Man, it sounded like to me, everybody had a chance at the fight to come to America. Based on what I'm reading here, all these different acts that they put in place from 1920 or to now, until like 1965. Asians were trying to get in here. Europeans were trying to get in here. All immigrants were trying to get in here. And they kept putting these prohibitions to, kind of like veto them. So, they didn't have a crack at it. Everyone had a crack at getting laws passed for immigrants to be here. And it was a fight in 1965 that made it possible, y'all. It was our fight. Foundational Black Americans, our fight, not the Europeans, not the Southeast Asians, not the Haitians, not the Africans. It was us that made it happen, like we always do. And that's why y'all be mad, because we always make stuff happen. This is an example of foundational Black Americans making stuff happen when so many other people had the opportunity to do it and couldn't get the job done. You feel me? Because I would love to see, you know, us unite in that fight. You know, that's the thing. I would love to see it. But the fact of the matter is, it's been a long time and it hasn't happened. So we got to focus on ourselves, y'all. We not trying to separate ourselves. We just trying to define our fight. Okay. And if you with our fight, you would define it too. You would get on code with us. So this point that I'm making today is really about allies. Okay. It's not about to discredit your culture, your immigration status, none of that. Okay, it's to try to see if you're gonna join our fight. That's it. Are you gonna join our fight? All you immigrants that's coming to the United States of America, just remember, okay, 1964. Remember that year, and go deep into the history books on what happened in 1964. And just like in this article even says itself, today American Muslims and other immigrants are enjoying the fruits of the civil rights struggle and its impact on the country's immigration laws. We are not for the sacrifices of foundational America. If it were not for the sacrifice of foundational Black Americans and their supporters, it is highly unlikely that discriminatory based on color and ethnicity would have changed in America. Let me read that again for y'all. Today, American Muslims and other immigrants are enjoying the fruits of the civil rights struggle and its impact on the country's immigration laws. Were it not for the sacrifices of foundational Black Americans and their supporters, it is highly unlikely the discriminatory based on color and ethnicity would have changed in America. And don't get me wrong, you know, I'm not going to sit and act like I'm not a descendant or don't have some history or some type of attachment to Africa. The point I'm making is they have all that and we have so little. Okay? Us as foundational Americans, we fight with a little. We don't have a whole continent or country to call on and say, hey, join our fight. We don't have that, y'all. And one thing I hear a lot immigrants say is, you know, it was a past, it was so long ago. And, you know, I just have to say it's easy for immigrants to say that when they never dealt with any of the atrocities and, you know, all the, adversities that Black people had to deal with just to make it this far to even vote in America. You know, all the stuff that we endured. So it's easy for them to say, oh, it's a pack, because they never dealt with any of that stuff. You know, when they got here, the carpet was laid, they got benefits, they were able to start businesses, they were able to send money back to their countries. They were able to do that because we fought for them to be able to do that in our country. And, you know, we fight everywhere. With our movement, when it comes to foundational Black men, we'll fight for Africa. We fought for Vietnam. We fought for every country. But when it comes for them fighting for us, they go mute. And what they will do, they'll talk about us. They love to do that. They got that down to a T, immigrants. But when it comes to talking good about Black people or even trying to find some light, they not looking for that. They down with them white supremacists. And that's the problem. They got their allies, and it's not us. It's them Europeans. And that's, you know, it is what it is. So we got our fight over here in the United States of America. And if you're an immigrant, you actually have a fight in your country. There is a fight going on in your country, but you're not there. You're here and, you know, attached to our fight. You feel me? So let's get this dialogue correct. It's not that I'm trying to create a divide amongst people. I'm trying to create a divide amongst the struggle and the people who had to endure the struggle in the United States of America, which are foundational Black Americans. Okay? So I'm not trying to take nothing from your struggle in your country. You can go to your country and fight. They're waiting on you. We're here fighting. We've been fighting. Okay. We are not fleeing. Okay. We're here till the fight is over. Okay. You can always go back to your country. Like, we don't have a country to go back to. Okay? So let's get that all correct before we start talking about each other, all right? Y'all not trying to get on the front line with us. You feel me? Y'all not. Y'all trying to stay behind us and piggyback off us and get on our backs and ride into the sunset off our struggle and take it right back to your country. It ain't happening this time, family. And I got one last question to my fellow immigrants. How would you feel if your people were enslaved like we were, if laws and policies were created to keep you down, if you were hung, beaten, assassinated for no reason on a consistent basis? How would you feel if we went to your country and told you how to deal with that pain, anguish, sorrow? How would you feel? I want to thank you all for tuning in. I also want to say God bless those going through the struggle, and make sure you watch out for them cold narratives that the government trying to push on us, y'all. And to all my black people, I will be nothing without y'all. God bless you all.